They say Westland was once peaceful, they say, but the whispers began long before the Seeker was even named. Whispers of a darkness that seeps, devours, leaving only shells. He sought answers. He found only deeper questions etched in blood and shadowed by things no mortal mind was meant to comprehend. The truth was not freedom, but a cage of dread, the confessor's touch. A power meant to bring justice, yet capable of stripping the very soul. A horror she carried within herself. A constant battle against becoming the monster she hunted. The prophecy was a lie, not one of salvation but of sacrifice. Rahl didn't seek power, he sought consumption. And the Seeker was merely the key to unlock the abyss. They fought. But how does one fight an entity that preys on the soul itself? The Seeker learned that day some evils cannot be defeated. Only endured, and perhaps not even that. The true horror wasn't in darken Rahl's reign, but in the realization that his darkness was eternal. And they were trapped within it. Escape was an illusion. The forest itself had become a living prison, each branch a cage bar, each shadow a watchful eye. They ran, but only deeper into his domain. Rahl played with their minds, twisting their memories, their hopes into instruments of torment. The past became a weapon, the future a void. The wizard, once a beacon of wisdom, was now just a man drowning in despair. His magic, a shield against darkness, now seemed merely to beckon it closer. Join us, Seeker. Surrender to his will. It is peace. The confessor's soul, once pure, was now a battleground. Her power, designed to protect, was slowly being corrupted, twisted into a tool of the very evil she fought. The true destination was revealed. Not escape, but an inevitable journey to the heart of the nightmare, to the very source of the world's unending pain. Welcome, the Seeker, the Confessor, the Wizard, all pawns in a game they could never win. Their journey ended not in glory, but in the echoing silence of absolute surrender. They stepped into the maw of the beast, expecting a dungeon, a cell. Instead, they found a labyrinth built of despair, where the very stones wept silent anguish. Rahl's prison was not of iron, but of memory. He bound them with the chains of their own pasts, twisting every triumph into a tragedy, every love into a curse. Even the greatest magic was but a flickering candle against the sunless void Rahl had created. The wizard's mind, once a fortress, crumbled into dust. This was not a king's court, but a void, the very heart of Rahl's dominion, where he did not rule but simply was. A silent, consuming darkness that permeated everything, the ultimate betrayal, not by a blade but by the twisting of love into a weapon, a final enticement to surrender to the endless night. And so, the Seeker, who once sought truth, found only a fate far worse than death, a timeless existence bound to the very horror he swore to defeat. The prophecy was fulfilled, but not as the world had hoped. Never as the world had hoped. Just as all hope seemed lost, a flicker ignited, not from external magic, but from the unyielding spirit of the Seeker, a defiant spark against an all-consuming darkness. The true sword of truth was not merely steel, but a manifestation of unwavering conviction. It was the purity of his purpose, forged in the fires of despair, now unleashed. The Confessor, freed from her bonds, unleashed her true power, not a weapon of despair, but a force of cleansing, a shield and a sword for justice. And the wizard, reclaiming his wisdom, wove the ancient threads of magic not to fight but to bind the very essence of Rahl, making him vulnerable to the light. With courage renewed and purpose burning, the Seeker struck the final blow. Darkened Rahl, the ultimate shadow, was undone, not with despair, but with the unwavering strength of hope. The shadow was lifted, the land began to heal. The horror was vanquished, and from the darkest night the true dawn finally broke. The Seeker had won, and the world could finally breathe.